Okay, we're about to do something really amazing right here. This is going to be a masterclass. It's gonna be a little bit longer than usual, but stay with me because the way we're going to approach this learning is going to be kind of unique. And this is something I've been doing in the channel so far. Look at this. We have a list of users right here. And then at the bottom, we have a question that was asked by a customer. Could you give me in that list of users the one that has an X in their name? This should be trivial. But here is how we're going to make it so interesting and make sure that you become better at writing code in JavaScript and TypeScript, right? So the first thing here is we're going to use 5 different ways to answer that question. 5. forEach, a map, filter, reduce, and find. But here is where it becomes really interesting. Toward the end, we're gonna make sure that we remove this user and we try to write this thing so that we're just gonna have to pass a user here. So it's a different API, but it means that we're gonna rewrite it from scratch, which means we're gonna look under the hood to understand what these things do. You know the consequence of doing that? You just become better at using these tools. That's how you learn. And I'm gonna guide you through it. If you want to do the hands-on approach of it, there is a gem for that. I put a link in the description. Try that gem. It's gonna challenge you. It's gonna help you rewrite this following a test-driven approach. We good? Let's get going. So we're going to start with the first one, which is a forEach right there. So in this first part, we're first going to implement them using these tools. And then in the second part, we're going to re-implement this function one after the other. Let's go. So let's start with forEach, and we're going to basically comment out everything else right there. So forEach, what does forEach do? If we just want to get the one that has the user that has an X in their name, what we're just going to do here is actually get a user like this first. So we have a user where we're going to store the result. Why? Because forEach doesn't return anything. forEach, it's a function that just does a loop underneath, and then you will have to store whatever result you want to extract from it. That's basically why I'm writing a user right there. And then, I'm just gonna say user, and you see it is basically empty right here. So now inside the forEach, what do? We're going to basically look for the user.name, and we're just gonna look for the one that includes an X right there. And once we do that, let me change the forEach here to result. And then we can basically say like this is result. And now here I can just write result. So once I do that, boom, you see the result is right there. It happens on line 15. We see that we extract the right one just by calling that user. The name includes the X, right? That basically it. Now, this implementation is straightforward, but what I want you to get from it is the fact that forEach doesn't return anything. Okay, so that's the first implementation. We're gonna go with the map, and then we will come later once again to re-implement this function from scratch. So let's move that here all the way at the bottom, and then we're just gonna pass that over there. Now, let's go back all the way up, and we're going to start with the map version. So the map version is going to be different because map, compared to forEach, map returns something. Map goes from an array to an array of things. But the question there is, just give me the user that has an X in it, the one that has it. So how would you do that? So there are many approaches we could do. And by the way, I wouldn't use map for this question, but I'm showing you here how you will use map, and it will give you a kind of understanding of how these tools work. So the way I will do that is to say, let's get the result here. Okay, and already here, if I do result, you're going to see that it's written undefined, right? That's already the thing that's quite interesting there. Now, I'm thinking out loud here. How would we do that? So the first thing we could do is to just say exactly what it's saying there. It's saying that if the username we're re-implementing, we're reusing the logic that we had in the previous one, and we're saying that if the user include X, let's return it, otherwise return null. And you know what? What you return is what goes into the final map. So if here I say, for example, 10, you see it shows 10 right there. If here I say 9, it shows 999 and 10, right? So how could we make sure that we only get the one that has the value that we want, right? Which basically the one is with the X. So let's go back here. How would we do that? What we could simply do is to say we're going to have a way to remove from that array everything that is not, actually here we know already that we could just say position 3, position 2, right? If we do that, we just get the second thing. So that will be end of the game, right? That is a little bit of cheating because you know that, it's the third one, right? It's not really fair. So what we could do, another version of that could just be, let's filter out everything, that is, so I'm just gonna use a Boolean here. So if we do that, so we get exactly the one that is a null, and then we could go here and say, let me just get the first one, right? If there is one right there, so we kind of get to the same result by going through a filter. Filter, we haven't talked about filter, which is gonna be next. Actually, filter makes it way easier to handle than everything else. But as you see here, map isn't the tool for it. It's not the tool for it. We got to the same result. It's working, but hey, what I just wrote here, you don't quote me on that. That is a way to show you the limitation of the tools based on the problem you're having. Okay? So we could stop here for the map and then move to the next implementation. So I'm gonna move this thing all the way at the bottom here, and now we're gonna move to filter. So how about filter? Filter is actually kind of map. It does basically what we did a few seconds ago, which is it's gonna have a result, it's gonna return your result, and that result is going to be an array when you filter out. So here, what we're just going to do, instead of writing the logic of if something, we just say we're gonna just return that thing right there, and then if I type result, you see it comes back, but you see that there is an array notation around the result we're looking for. So here I can just go with 0 and bam, there you go, it's there. Now the point there is it the right implementation here for filter? I will say yes, it's completely the right one. Some people that are really purists will be like, yeah, you don't need a return there, maybe. So it means that you just need to you need to remove let me move that. Yeah, exactly. And I need to remove that. And it will give me kind of the same result. Yeah, this is just preferences. Some people will like that. I'm not sure that it's okay. I will vibe with this really easily. But that's basically the approach here, because we know that in that array of user there is only one. But if there were many of them, we will just miss them. But the question was, give me D1, D only one. Okay, so we went with the assumption that there is only one. Let's get that one. So that basically works. Filter, as you can see in the logic, let me go back here quickly. As you can see here in the logic, we could have done something like this. We say, hey, if this, we could have just say return true, okay, and if otherwise return false, right? Because what we want fundamentally is the possibility, like the function we're passing right here, that function should be able to return a boolean, and it's based on that boolean that filter we decide which one it picks to put in the final array. Okay, so but writing it this way, it's so redundant because this part here is already doing that true or false, right? Thus the fact that we return this and we can get rid of all of this, right? That is basically the main idea right there. Okay, so that's filter. Don't forget, at the end of this, we're going to re-implement this thing from scratch. Okay, so let's move filter completely at the bottom. Move it here, and now we go back all the way up here, and we're going to do with reduce. So reduce is the Swiss knife that can do them all. It can do forEach, map, and all of it, can do literally all, right? So what we're going to do here is just applying the reduce to the list of users. So we're gonna start with a result here, and what we want, it's actually something that is a user. So what you do is you put here the initial value. It was the same as in the forEach implementation, where we created a variable result in which we said, hey, it's going to be an object, and then we start the implementation looping and so on and so forth to bring the thing back. So reduce will do the looping. It will have that initial value, right? So the thing I'm writing here is initial value. That's what that thing is, right? So we want the initial value to be just an object right there. So this is going to have basically an accumulator and then the next user in the list. And what we want to do is basically the same logic, and we're going to say that if the user, let's go with it. Let's go with that implementation there. So what we're saying is, if the user that we're looping has an X, just put that user in the list. Otherwise, just return the list. That's basically it. Which means that by the time you reach the result, you get this. That it is actually that straightforward. You could also have said, hey, let's put it in an array and then unbox the array, so on and so forth. You could have done it that way, but you see, we get exactly the same result with reduce. Now, this implementation should be really easy for you. If you've been doing JavaScript for a while, this thing should be really clear. What I'm trying to make sure is you understand that there is a tool for every single use case. Reduce isn't the right tool here. We saw that filter even isn't the right tool there. So is not so is not map, or even forEach. When you think about it, they're not the right tool so far. But we're still going through it. Now let's go with the next one and the last one in our exercise here. I'm just gonna move all the way down here and put it like that. And now in our exercise, what we're going to do here is find. And find is going to actually return us one thing. Like everything we've done there, you can really think of it like that's what find will do. Okay, so I just need to tell find that return the thing that is there and then show result like this, and that just works. So in this exercise, that entire thing, find, is the tool that I will have used in this case, because I know there is only one thing. You could have used filter and say, hey, filter, let's just give me the first one that you find. But it means that you will have to check that there is something in that array. Same thing here. Technically, you have to say like something is if result dot if result is there, then we have something is. So I hope this is pretty clear, and it shows you a little bit the range of the way you could use all these functions. So a quick recap here. We went from using a forEach, and then we had the implementation. Wait, let me go all the way down here. We should have it somewhere all the way here. So we started with the forEach here, okay? And then we saw that, yeah, it's just a simple loop, and then it doesn't return anything. And then we went all the way down with a map, and we saw that the map is actually not the right tool for it, but you could get to the same result. Then we went all the way with the filter. So let's bring filter a little bit up here. And then we basically saw that, yeah, filter is, it's doing the job, but you still need to unwrap right there from the map. So that's really not the thing there. And then we have the reduce, which is probably I like the implementation here, but the thing is, it's just not the tool to solve the problem that we had to solve, and we end up with the find right there. So that's phase one. That is phase one. The second phase is what happened behind the scene. What is happening behind each of these functions? I'm gonna pause now for now, and I will let you take that on your own. And I'm just going to link a video at the bottom here, which is going to be the second part, where I go ahead and implement this from scratch. You with me? And if you want to have that kind of content coming every week, I mean, if you're watching this, it's probably something that if you're still here right now, it's probably something that you enjoy. Just click that subscribe button. It's a way for me to make sure that I know that what I'm doing brings value, and I can bring that every week for free. And the only way you're paying is clicking that like button or subscribe button. And then in a few days, you're going to have the second part already attached. It's probably already there. So see you on there. Cheers. Bye.